On behalf of Embassy of India, I welcome you all to the celebration of 67th anniversary of India's independence. Today we are honored to have His Excellency Dr. Laszlo Sabo, State Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Trade of Hungary, as the chief guest to grace the evening. Before we start the celebration, may I request all of you to please join us in singing the national anthems of Hungary and India. We start with the national anthem of Hungary, followed by national anthem of India. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would now call upon His Excellency Mr. Malay Misra, Ambassador of India in Bhutan, to address the gathering.
Tisztelt Alamtitkár úr, diplomata kollégáim, Magyarország állampolgárai, az indiai közösség képviselői, India kedvelői. Tisztelt vendégek! Lassan és év vagyok Budapesten, ebben a szép országban, Magyarországon. Endekjek meg, hogy parsot mondják. Magyarul a közöntő beszédemben. Indiai függetlenségi napjának 67. évfordulóját ünnepeljük ma. Ez egy jó alkalom, hogy visszanézzünk a múltba, és előrenézzünk a jövőbe. Indiai szoros baráti és szívélyes kapcsolatot ápol Magyarországgal, mely kiadta az idő próbáját. A tavalyi októberi Orbán Viktor miniszterelnök indiai látogatása mérföldkő volt. Közösség az értékeink, reményeink, törekvéseink. Ez alkalomból szeretném átadni szívélyes ünnepi üdvözletemet. A Magyar Nemzeti Nap alkalomból, mely 5 nap múlva lesz, ünnepi kívánságaimat szeretném átadni a magyar társadalmainknak. Szépen köszönöm. To those of you who couldn't understand my Hungarian, this was a humble effort after staying here for a little less than a year. I thought, why don't experiment with the language who I have come to love and come to live with. Your Excellency, State Secretary, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Laszlo Szabo, Mrs. Szabo, Dr. Emil Lazar, Director, Ministry of Human Resource, Department of Culture, Mrs. Lazar, Kathleen Kateru, the very famous expert on Amrita Shergill, Madam, ladies on the stage, distinguished guests, the Dean and members of the Diplomatic Corps, all guests, friends, members of socio-cultural organizations, friends of India, members of the Indian community, all of you, welcome, good evening. Today we welcome you all on a very special occasion about which you all know, but today's occasion is special on 2 things. The first thing is, of course, we commemorate the 67th anniversary of India's independence. The second thing is that from today, the cultural center which we have in the embassy is going to be named after the most famous Indo-Hungarian contemporary painter of the 20th century, Amrita Shergill. So it will be called Amrita Shergill. So after we finish this formal part, we will invite our guests to come up, and we have put on display, after we have unveiled a plaque, we have put on stage a few display materials on the life and times of Amrita Shergill. And thereafter, after we treat you to some Indian food, we will take you down to our cultural center, which will be the Amrita Shergill Cultural Center, to show you a special documentary film on the life and times of Amrita Shergill. So all that is a packed evening before you. I wish to extend my sincerest greetings to all of you on behalf of the government and people of the Republic of India on this very auspicious occasion. I would also like to take this occasion to extend to you my sincerest greetings on the occasion of Hungary's National Day, which is coming 5 days later, and our felicitations to you, and through you to your government, State Secretary. Our best wishes for that too. Before I start saying something, I would like to thank a few people who have contributed to making this event so charming, so beautiful before you. My colleagues in the mission who have put up this decorations everywhere, the lighting, the lampshades, the things which you see on the stage and down below. Our embassy ladies who have prepared this wonderful works of art in raw color, which we call jhoti, which you see here, which represents the 3 colors of the Indian national flag. A special word of thanks to the director and his team for putting up the special works of Amrita Shergill on stage, which we are going to unveil in a short time, and we'll let all of you come and see that and encourage us in starting a new chapter in the history of our cultural center. To Masala Restaurant for having given us the delicate delicacies of the evening to partake. To all our participants who are here, who have put up various stalls featuring Indian artifacts. They have come from various parts of Budapest. We felt that whatever they have with them, they will bring to display that. Thereafter, if you are interested, you can visit them during the course of the evening and see whatever appeals to you, you can go back to them. I was recently in India. I came back about a week ago. I was struck by big changes in the Indian society. We had our elections recently, in which out of 830 million people who were eligible to vote, about 515 million people voted. We had 66% voting, the highest voting for this time we had, and the person who stood tall above all, who is now the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Damodar Das Modi, his party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, came after 30 years with a full majority for a single party. In other words, we have been having coalition governments before, but now, though we have a coalition government, his party has got the full majority in the Parliament of India. It's a huge change. I felt an optimism in the air, a very vibrant feeling of change, of aspirations and hopes of the younger generation. 65% of India's population are below 35 years old, and half of India's population are below 25 years old. We have a huge, immense strength of youth in India, and with proper skilling, proper resource mobilization, proper ways to boost the economy, I'm sure Indian society, Indian economy will go far. We have a lot of things which have been happening in our society which are not too positive, but with changes, rapid changes in the society as we move in the 21st century, I'm sure a lot of these things, the superstitions, the rituals, the evil habits, the poison of communalism and racism and terrorism, will gradually have to go from India. Today, Prime Minister Modi, while he was speaking from the ramparts of the Red Fort, he appealed to such forces to give a moratorium of 10 years to stop everything which is destabilizing the country and give peace a chance. He said, unless that, we cannot move forward. It was an appeal from the topmost leader of the country, and we hope that by and large, gradually, the Indian society will come together. We have always believed in holding our diversities, our tremendous diversities of our land within our unity. That is our strength. That is our challenge also. That is what we live with day in and day out. The immense diversities of our subcontinent, the complexities of our land, the immense history of our land, the civilizational values which have come in over thousands and thousands of years to India, they are all a part of our national heritage. But here, when I speak in this wonderful environs of residence of the Indian ambassador, overlooking the beautiful blue Danube, I feel that we have to go a lot further and a lot more. Honorable Prime Minister Viktor Orban's visit to India last year in October has charted a new course for us. It has given us tremendous hopes, surging with potential and possibilities of doing a lot more. And we hope that the two governments which were elected more or less at the same time in Budapest and Delhi, in April and May respectively, who are led by dynamic leaders on both sides, will have a lot of commonalities between them. I don't want to give a detail of all the bilateral cooperation areas which we have done over the last 1 year. Suffice to say that we are moving ahead with a lot of strength. Explorers, travelers, artists, writers, philosophers from Hungary and India have tried to discover each other's land for time immemorial. If I can say, going back to the 16th century, and even more, furthermore, that foundation has been very solidly laid between our two countries. Having done that, I think the time has come forward to look at certain other areas which will give us the confluence of innovative ideas. We look at the society, the age of innovation, the age of information technology. We look at the globalizing world in which we are, and we have to find our space within that. And I'm sure with the dynamism of the leaderships of both sides, we will stand to gain a lot in terms of complementing our positions, our interests, our agendas, our goodwill, our friendship, our bonding, and our history together. I therefore like to take this opportunity to once again thank you all for coming and joining us here today evening for this very, very important occasion which we celebrate all over India and all over the world, in all our embassies, in all the diaspora of India, and we have about 35 million Indians overseas. Everyone celebrates this day because this day is the harbinger of freedom for us. In the beginning of the 20th century, there was a great patriot called Bal Gangadhar Tilak, who in the course of the Indian freedom movement said, "Freedom is my birthright and I shall have it." And today we have freedom as our birthright. We have got this freedom not as an inheritance. We have got this freedom after 200 years of struggle. We have got this freedom after at least 50 years of a strong battle against the might of the imperial power. A battle which was fought on the value and principle of satyagraha, of truth, love, compassion, peace, non-violence, all glorious civilizational values. And today when we are here at this time, at this bend, at this cusp of time, I want to reach out to all my brothers and sisters of Hungary, all the members of the Indian community living here, to give us the strength and support, to help us, cooperate with us in moving our relationship forward. I also today bow my head before a great Indian whose birthday also comes today, a great nationalist, a great spiritual giant, and a great freedom fighter, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh. Sri Aurobindo, who lived his last 50 years of his life in a place called Pondicherry, near Madras, in the south of India, had believed in the soul power of India to permeate the entire world, to bring the consciousness and change in the world through spiritual strength. It is spiritual India which endures the maximum, which is a part, of course, no doubt, of our soft power, which we send out to the rest of the world. But that is what is the most enduring and endearing quality about India. I will end my words with a few words in Hindi, if you permit me, State Secretary. आज के शुभ अवसर पर जब हम भारत के आज़ादी के 67 गांठ मना रहे हैं, आप सबको हमारी बधाई, आप सबको हमारा शुभकामना। यहाँ के जितने हमारे भाई बहन भारत के हैं, आप सभी अच्छी तरह से रहें, आपके परिवार, आपके बच्चे, आपके संप्रदाय, आपके सब अच्छे रहें और आप सब हमारे साथ मिलकर भारत और हंगरी के प्रति जो कोऑपरेशन है उसको हाथ बटाए, ये हम आपसे आग्रह करेंगे। May I now request my colleagues to bring me a toast to raise. I would like to now raise a toast to the friendly and warmest people of Hungary and to their health and happiness. Thank you very much. May I now request the Honorable State Secretary to give his address on this very important occasion for us on behalf of the government and people of Hungary.
Dear Ambassador Mishra, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege and honor for me to celebrate together with you the 67th anniversary of independence of India. India became independent at midnight on this day in 1947. 67 years on, India is now the world's largest democracy. इस उल्लास के अवसर पर मैं अपने सभी भारतीय मित्रों को हार्दिक बधाई देता हूँ। I'm very proud that Hungary was among the first ones to establish diplomatic ties with India after the independence of India. Ever since, our friendly relations have been going on for a long, long time. And last year, 2013, was an especially rich year from a diplomacy point of view. As you have heard, our distinguished prime ministers met, and several multilateral and bilateral agreements have been established between our countries. I will try to keep my speech very short. However, I prepared a 2-hour speech on the life of Amrit Shergill. But since there will be a documentary, as I understand, about her life, I will just briefly say that she's a daughter of a Sikh aristocrat and a Hungarian opera singer. And her life really and truly represents the relationship between India and Hungary, the colorful, vibrant, young spirit that has really left a huge trademark after herself. And I'm really glad that the Cultural Center of India here in Budapest will be named after her. We both have to be very proud of her, and I'm very glad that we can celebrate together with you here. So I wish you all a wonderful evening, and let's celebrate together India's independence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency Dr. Sabo, for your words on this auspicious occasion. And I now hand over the mic to my colleague, Director, Indian Cultural Center, to go ahead with the proceedings. Thank you.
Excellencies, honorable guests, and dear colleagues, good evening. We start the second part of the program for today evening. I want to say a few words about the Indian Culture Center. Actually, Indian Culture Center was set up on the Republic Day of India in 2011, that is 26 January 2011. Since its inception, this Culture Center has expanded its activities, and today we are proud to say that we are organizing the entire spectrum of cultural activities in our Culture Center. And our activities are, I am also very happy to say that our activities are well appreciated by Hungarian friends. As just now Excellencies have mentioned, we are going to have this Culture Center named after Amrita Shergill. Amrita Shergill was a very versatile Indo-Hungarian painter who contributed immensely to the cultural connect between India and Hungary. 2013 was the year of her birth centenary, and this embassy organized a exhibition on her works at Vasari Villa in Balapunpure in July 2013. And this exhibition was provided by National Gallery of Modern Arts, New Delhi, and this was inaugurated by the former Foreign Minister of India, Mr. Salman Khurshid. Thereafter, in September 2013, we started publication of a bi-monthly magazine called Amrit. This was again named after Amrita. This magazine contains articles on culture and its various manifestations, including on articles on topics of contemporary life. And these articles are published in 3 languages: Hungarian, English, and Hindi. Today, I am very honored and pleased to announce that this embassy has taken a decision to name the Indian Culture Center after Amrita Shergill, recognizing her immense and tremendous contribution towards the Indo-Hungarian cultural connect. The life of Amrita Shergill was very colorful, and I would request Dr. Kathleen Teseru, an eminent art historian, curator and researcher, to kindly come and dwell on the life of Amrita Shergill. Dr. Kathleen Teseru, please.
Your Excellency, Honorable State Secretary, distinguished guests, Director Umesh Kumar, ladies and gentlemen, it is an extraordinary honor for me to participate in the festivities of India's Independence Day. Although I am an outsider, this day cannot leave anybody untouched, as we also cherish it as personal experience, particularly after having read Salman Rushdie's moving Midnight's Children. This day is especially notable as the Indian Cultural Center in Budapest is to receive today the name of a prominent person, one who belongs both to India and Hungary, Amrita Shergill. Last year, exhibitions and conferences commemorated the centenary of her birth in Budapest, where she was born, in India, where her artistic oeuvre unfurled, and in Paris, where she studied. In 1932, she made her first important work, Young Girls, which led to her election as an associate of the Grand Salon in Paris in 1933, making her the youngest ever, she was 20, and the only Asian to have received this recognition. From that time, she exhibited her works both in Paris and in India till 1941, when she died before the opening of her Lahore exhibition. Allow me to conjure up her person and art briefly, laying the emphasis on the feminine, social, and universal character of the latter. I am convinced that the most important discovery of 20th century art and art history with repercussions on society on a global scale was the discovery of women's art. Besides the tragically short life of Amrita Shergill and her rich oeuvre connect Europe and Asia, being among the first to prove the reality of the other fundamental concept of the century, word art, the universal nature of art and artistic communication. The third characteristic of the last century was the social sensitivity, also in the artistic view. Regarding the atmosphere between the two world wars, alienation and the desire to delve into the essence of reality characterized it. In art, as in life, this could be identified partly in an attitude that objectified everything, and partly in its opposite, a heightened interest in physicality, biological existence, and objectivity that sought to grasp existence. On the contrary, characteristic feature in Amrita's art, as early as her student years, was to present and not represent the model or object. In Amrita's type of picture, the presentation hinges on the model, who declares herself to be a subject and not an object, and is enabled to do so by the sensual gaze of the painter, who regards her subject, model, as an autonomous being. Woman must write herself, wrote Hélène Cixous in her feminist manifesto, The Laugh of the Medusa, in 1975, at a time when women's creative work was being discovered. I quote her, now women return from afar, from beyond culture, from their childhood, which men have been trying desperately to make them forget. The female voice, the oeuvre of Amrita Shergill, makes sense to talk about an écriture féminine in the visual arts. Her painting oeuvre is dominated all along by female figures. Her viewpoint was quite new. Amrita painted common scenes from the life of Indian and Hungarian European women in her most important works, which had their tradition in the great masters of Western modernity, Van Gogh, Cézanne, Picasso, the Indian Mughal painting, and the naive and harmonious painterly world of her Hungarian contemporaries. The pictures also incorporate the 19th century Western tradition of free, provocative, and emancipated women, changing the postures into those of female homework, tiredness, devotion, and defenselessness, and an elevated viewpoint to highlight the essential dissimilarities between the male and female gaze and the 19th and 20th centuries. Amrita's radical female objectivity, which is subjectivity, revealed the deeper reality of her models, that of the existence of the body without any elements of idealization or irony, and created a suggestive artistic language of the unfamiliar, unheimlich in the Freudian sense, astonishing image of women. Her uncle, Ervin Baktai, informed Hungary about Amrita's painting, her endeavors and success in 1937. His article offers a general characterization of the state of the visual arts in India, marked by amateur, local Westerners, the forgetting of local traditions, and a biased preference in those who still reference it, but for the prioritization of the spirit over form and construction. It is with the latter that he contrasts Amrita, for whom the soul of India's people manifested itself in forms, lines, and colors. Her first Indian works, the tonally rich grey pictures of the poor, and then those dense compositions that relied on the extreme clarity of Indian colors, have been appreciated by European criticism. In Paris, they were likened to the works of contemporary Mexican muralists with such shared values as social commitment and the representation of local peculiarities, even in the imaging. Of course, basically her main subject was art. She extended the world of art, making known Indian artistic heritage by incorporating its sensuality and topics in her own art. She herself aimed at the correlation of local and universal art, as recommended in Hungary, with an essentially genre-focused strategy by connecting the Indian mural tradition, born from the union of the genre piece and mythology, the genres of the miniatures and Indian life. Her works convey a peculiarly Indian affinity between the everyday and the divine. With almost identical figures and a unified form palette, Amrita represented the continuous, simultaneous presence and interaction of the sensory and the supersensory. Painting is the primary factor and the subject only the secondary factor in a picture, she wrote in her essay, Appreciation of Art. In his book of Amrita, Mulk Raj Anand, famous Indian art historian, calls painting an enlightened, illuminated perception of the human condition. This seems valid of Amrita's second Indian period, when her painting became poetic and ambiguous at a time when a young poet from Hungary, Sándor Vörös, was traveling in India and defined the genre of his doctoral dissertation on the psychology of creation as a meditation and confession. He created a fusion of two different genres, one Indian, the other European, as did Amrita Shergill in her art. An artist dedicated to the country, she became a believer of art, and the poetic characteristics of her works made them part of the universal art of painting. Hoping that our new age doesn't forget the main topics of Amrita and the 20th century, I wish, together with Amrita's Hungarian relatives, the Hegymegi, Székely, and Gottesmond families, a successful future to the Amrita Shergill Cultural Center in Budapest.
Thank you, ma'am, for providing insights into the life of Amrita Shergill. Now I request His Excellency Dr. Sabo, His Excellency Dr. Imre Lazar, His Excellency Ambassador to please come and unveil the new name of Culture Center, which is going to be known as Amrita Shergill Center from now on. Please come and do the honors. Thank you, Excellencies. Now, I would request all the guests to please come one by one from the sides of the stairs and have a look at the panel exhibition that we have organized for this evening. This depicts the life of Amrita Shergill. After this view by all of you are requested to kindly come and join us for the reception that has been organized for the evening. And after the reception at 8:45, I would request all of you to kindly come to the Amrita Shergill Cultural Center's auditorium, where we'll be screening a small documentary on the life of Amrita Shergill. The screening will start at 8:45. Now I thank you all for gracing the occasion, and I request you all to please come one by one from this side, and I request the guests to please come and have a look, and then thereafter all the guests will come.
They have been declared as national treasure. Now only but I will take that, but I want to. I will say it.
And it is a little away but still in the heart. Both.
Te mész a Viktorral elég. Minimum jó. Én őt oké, rendben van, megveszik.
We have food from the Culture Center.